Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. We have two meetings tonight. The first is the monthly meeting of the Cunningham Town Board. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustees Ammons.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Hazen.
Here.
Jacobson.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Wu.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here. Next up is approval of minutes from the previous meeting. First is October 1st, 2018, and then a special meeting on October 22nd, 2018. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Jared, seconded by Dennis. Any corrections? All those in favor of approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, that motion passes. Are there any additions to the agenda? Okay. Does anyone wish to address the Cunningham Town Board? If so, please fill out a yellow slip at the back of the room. Okay, seeing none. Committee to verify bills. Danielle?
Okay, so this month, the town fund had $69,910.60 in expenditures. That includes a number of social service grants from the first quarter. The general assistance fund had $66,167.23 in expenditures. The total for the month was $146,100.58.
Any questions for Township Supervisor? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the town fund and the general assistant fund as indicated.
I'll
second.
Second it.
Moved by Dennis, seconded by Mary Alice. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Reports of officers.
Just two notes, and then we'll get into the levy in a second when we get to that resolution. So as I sent in my supervisor's memo to you, general assistance participants as of, that should say November 1st, we had 121 participants, up from 114 last month. 56 of those participants are homeless. 47 are assigned to community workfare, and we've mostly moved our community workfare participants to Salt and Light by mostly their choosing, because they're able to also earn credit there. 14 are on the job search track. 51 are disabled with pending SSI, SSDI cases, and 12 are senior citizens. The average age is 48 years, and this has remained pretty stable. Our average age of participants is 48. Homeless assistance this month, it should say October. For October was 9 households served with eviction prevention or rental assistance, and we've been bouncing between about 6 and 10 per month as expected. I also just wanted to say, especially since it's election day tomorrow, that we've done a lot of things to educate our homeless participants. As you saw, we have 56 homeless residents of Urbana who are served by our township. And so we have helped people register to vote. We've held information about their rights to vote. There's actually a Bill of Rights for the homeless for the state of Illinois. It includes the rights of the homeless to vote. And it's important for folks to understand that even if somebody doesn't have a fixed residence, they have a legal and constitutional right in the state of Illinois to vote. This weekend we had some irregularities in the voting process, and I had to be called out to assist the homeless in voting. There were at least 2 homeless residents who were turned away this weekend and were not able to vote until I went out, and the third one was able to vote with intervention. So I just think it's really important for the public to know, especially since folks will be voting tomorrow, that your photo ID does not need to have Champaign County. In fact, many people's photo ID does not have Champaign County. You just need to have a piece of mail if you're registering and voting at the same time with your address, or you need to show if you're homeless, our township can provide a homeless verification, and I can do verification on the spot through a series of questions that we also do at the township. So I'm just saying it's really important that everyone has the ability to exercise their right to vote tomorrow. And with that, I'll take any questions about my memo.
Bill?
Yeah, on the 51 pending SSI cases, that's been pretty constant the last few months. Is that the same people, or is it turning over? I think we started some new program that was supposed to fast track that. Right? Is that working?
Well, so we have trained 15 caseworkers across 8 agencies to help to fast track SSI cases. Most folks are just finishing up their training right now, and we've actually agreed to meet every Tuesday as a cohort to support each other in moving through cases. Our office has identified 2 cases, which is about all we can take on at any given time to help with the fast track process. But we're hoping with this cohort of 15 case managers, we'll have 15 to 30 folks throughout the county who are being supported in that process. It is the case that we've seen, we've gotten a number of SSI reimbursements because we've had a lot of new people come on the rolls, and we've been actually moving people off the rolls, but not because of our assistance with SSI. We've not launched that formal assistance. We are launching it this month as I have 3 case workers who are now trained in that support. So I'm hoping that actually, typically that's a 3 to 9 month process that we'll be able to see folks moving off of the SSI roles, and we can serve more people with that. We have, just for the record, had a number of people who received employment, and so although the numbers went up, there were a number of folks who went off the rolls this last month because they sought employment. So I feel like the job search track has been successful. It's showing success. I wouldn't say that the SSI track is showing success as a result of our office at this point yet.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Did Wayne, I just want to check to see if Wayne had a report. No, I'll do it when we get to that.
Just want to give you all a quick update on what we're doing in our office. To this date, staff has received over 279 hours of property assessment training, 204 hours from the IAAO. Right now, we are still looking at various CAMA systems. The county has received bids for their CAMA systems. Right now, we don't have any information from the county, but hopefully they'll be making their decision soon, which will influence our decision. Right now, just so you know, like in our office, we still rely primarily on paper records, but we're hoping to get those digitized soon. Hopefully, at the track we're going, we'll have a publicly accessible website by the end of next year. And that is it.
Any questions for Wayne? Eric?
So is your travel for training pretty much done now? For the year?
So mine is for the fiscal year. Laura and Tammy's are not. They have a couple more courses they have to take, but they'll take next calendar year, but still in this fiscal year.
Okay, thanks, Wayne. New business.
It's the staff shuffle. Okay. So the first is resolution number T-2018-11-016R.
Excuse me, Danielle.
But do we need to vote on the verified bills? Do we need to vote to accept that?
We did.
Oh, we did.
We did, yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
Which reminds me to send this along. Go ahead.
Thanks for
So-
reminding us, though.
So as you may recall from previous years, the levy is a 2-step process. So essentially what the first thing you do is you pass a resolution determining the amount of the levy. And then the second step is for you to actually set the levy in amounts. So today is actually just the resolution determining the amounts of the levy. As I put in my memo, I have a little bit of background on the levy. I think it's important. As you will see, many of the taxing bodies in town are having to predict, due to the Illinois Supreme Court decision in the Oswald case, that nonprofit hospitals have to meet the constitutional requirement for charitable use, and also the upcoming court case defending the township against Carl Foundation Hospital. I'm arguing, as are most taxing bodies, that it's prudent that we levy the amount that anticipates the hospital's return to the tax rolls. If we do not do that and that value goes on the tax rolls, we lose it forever. So it's absolutely imperative that we anticipate in that case. So township is different than the city of Urbana. Your home rule as city council, the township is under tax caps. If the hospitals do not end up paying taxes for 2018, our levy will be automatically reduced to the limit imposed by law under tax caps. So essentially, honestly, you could levy whatever, you could say whatever amount you wanted, that you wanted to set, and it will essentially be maxed out at what is allowed under tax caps. So under tax caps, we're limited to the highest levy extension of the past 3 years. I've given that number, times the consumer price index, which is 2.1% this year, plus any new value, new construction plus properties returned to the tax rolls, times our tax rate, 20.2% cents per $100 of EAV. So essentially with the hospitals, the estimated levy would be 1.3876 million. Without the new value, the estimated levy is 1.1635 million. I've given a history of the tax extension for Cunningham Township. I think it's important for you to look at 2014, we were at 1.3. We, in 2015, 14 into 15, you as a town board, under advice of the township supervisor, made a significant reduction to the township levy. You reduced it by $176,711. As a result, and I've brought this up in the budget process, the entire GA levy does not even cover the personal allowance line item, assuming a 30-year historic average for the number of clients on the township. So it's really important. You all were kind of guided to make a decision based on the number of clients at that time, and you were not provided information, or maybe you were, but my understanding is you may have not done what you did had you been given information about the historic tax rolls that go back many decades. In this budget, I anticipated 125 clients at $265 a month, which is still less than, has not kept up with inflation, but is the best we can do, for a total of $412,500. So that's just in GA checks, not including caseworkers or office expenses. Our levy is expected to be about $350,000 for GA. So you've got $214,500 just in GA checks, if we have the historic average, and the levy is $350,000. Because of this reduction in tax caps, even if Carl were to return entirely to the tax rolls, the township would receive approximately the same amount as it did back in 2014, adjusted for inflation. This is important information because we will need to address it in future years. For now, we're essentially deficit spending. We are in a position to do so. I think that is the right thing for us to do. But ultimately, as supervisor of the township, I'd like to make sure that we have a sustainable budget going forward. So for now, I think we should levy at the maximum rate that we can. It's very small under tax caps unless we see additional value added to the tax rolls. Any questions?
Well, let's get a motion on the floor first, and then we'll have discussion and questions.
Mhm.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to adopt the resolution under question.
It's resolution number 2018-11-061R.
And I'll second.
So that's moved by Eric, seconded by Dennis. Questions for Danielle? Bill?
So you talked a lot about the GA fund levy. Are there areas in the town fund that we can reduce or shift the levy from that to the GA fund?
Well, essentially, the tax caps is for both funds together. We're limited, so it's not like you can go up in GA and you could decide to allocate more to GA and less to the town fund. And then there's just the issue of, of inflation and the cost of healthcare and general benefits and staffing. So there's a little bit of robbing Peter to pay Paul, but I think what we need to look at is, I can come back to you with a list of strategies for how we are going to increase funds. We've launched an angel donor program. I have 4 churches who have pledged to that. The income has not come in, and they're working on the amounts, but that's an important piece. And then the Social Security reimbursements and raising that piece as well. And then, of course, whatever we can do to control costs within the township. But I really think, we're going to have to look at what is the long-term approach, because we essentially, bumped ourselves back a number of years with that drop.
With the 2.1% inflation, did you say?
It was 2.1. You're limited to CPI, so whatever it is in a given year.
And with the increase in our EAV, have you tried to figure out how that would affect our rate if we get the full levy?
Yes.
Will we be able to keep the rate at 21 cents?
I would have to look at that. I think I'd have to look at what the rate actually would go to under the township. Yeah, I think the rate would go down, but we would be levying at a greater amount, and it would be, more fairly distributed across the taxpayers.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Discussion? Is this a roll call vote? Okay, all those in favor of resolution number T 2018-11-016R, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Next up is resolution number T 2018-11-017R, which is a resolution authorizing an agreement between the Department of Human Services, Township of Cunningham for supplemental security income reimbursements.
So this is a simple resolution that the town board passes every 10 years. And that authorizes a contract between our office and Department of Human Services at the state level so that they can pay us back for general assistance that was paid to folks once they successfully get on SSI. Our contract ended at the end of June. I've been back and forth with DHS for some number of months. I was able to get a new contract, and they made it clear that it would be backdated to July 1 of this year. The standard. I think there's been some turnover at DHS, so it's difficult to find the right person. But we now have the contract, and with your approval, we could go ahead and sign it. It has not interrupted payments so far, so I was able to basically, we're continuing to receive payments. They just are anticipating this contract from us this month.
Is there a motion? Bill?
I move approval of resolution T 2018-11-017R.
Second?
I'll second.
Who hasn't done it yet? Dean?
I'll second it.
Oh, all right. I thought you did it. All right. Moved by Bill, seconded by Dean.
I stole it.
Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. All right, with no further business before the Cunningham Town Board, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.